Let's go to Ed Gillespie for the Romney campaign. Good morning, Ed. Good to have you this morning. You heard David Plouffe right there. His closing argument, Governor Romney would be an enormous risk.
And that we're doing better. We should build on the progress we made. The fact is, George, the unemployment rate today is higher than the day President Obama took office. 23 million Americans struggling to find work, the household income down by $4,300. That's what this campaign is about. Them saying, you know, we need to keep doing this. We need more of the same, essentially. We need 4 more years like the last 4 years. And Governor Romney promising real change. You know, in terms of President Obama's policies, we've heard that if he's reelected, I guess his agenda is he will establish a Secretary of Business. He thinks that somehow is going to help foster job creation. When Governor Romney has been talking for months now about his 5-point plan to grow the middle class with greater unleashing domestic energy supply, balancing the budget, tax reforms, greater trade. You know, we have a very strong agenda that is resonating with the American people. That's why he's going to win on Tuesday.
You heard David Plouffe's assessment of the battlegrounds right now. They believe they're in a strong position with that Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin firewall. And you heard him say that you all are playing defense in Virginia and Florida and a desperate ploy in Pennsylvania. Your response?
You know, 4 years ago, it's a remarkable juxtaposition here that Mitt Romney will be in the suburbs of Philadelphia today. And, you know, 4 years ago, Barack Obama was in Indiana. When you look at where this map has gone, it reflects the change and the direction and the momentum toward Governor Romney. And the fact is that a state like Pennsylvania being in play, a poll out today showing Michigan a dead heat. You know, the map has expanded. Wisconsin, Minnesota has expanded our way. We feel very confident in terms of where we are in the target states. We've been able to expand into Pennsylvania while fully funding and staying current with everything we need to be doing in Florida and Virginia and Ohio and all of the other target states. But I think what you're seeing, George, if I can just say, you know, when you listen to your previous guest and he talks about the ground game, they constantly talk about that and they're doing conference calls all the time on this. Their assumption seems to be that these undecided voters, the president and Governor Romney are both about 47, 48%, as you know, in these polls. And their assumption seems to be that these undecided voters aren't going to turn out and that they will therefore prevail because of their superior ground game versus ours. Number one, their ground game is not superior. And number two, I think those undecided voters are going to turn out and they're going to break pretty strongly against the president.
But when you see all the public polls in the battleground states, most of them show the president holding a quite small, in many of the states, but steady lead in a lot of the key battlegrounds. Do you just think those state polls have some kind of statistical bias in them?
Well, it depends on which ones. I mean, you know, there was a poll in Virginia, as you know, my home state, that had the president winning by 2 percentage points. I think it was 47-45. And Governor Romney winning the independent vote by 21 percentage points. Now, I can tell you, George, if Governor Romney wins independents in Virginia by 21 percentage points on Tuesday, he will not lose to President Obama by 2 percentage points. So there is, you know, the most recent public poll for one of the other networks had Ohio had Obama ahead, but it had a +9 percentage point Democratic advantage. That would be a bigger margin than for President Obama in 2012 than he enjoyed in 2008. I just don't buy that. I don't see it. I actually believe when I look at the data, when I look at where the president is, when you're the incumbent president of the United States and you are at 47 or 48% in your ballot 2 days before the election, you are in deep trouble. And that's where they are today. And I believe when I look at the intensity numbers, when I look at being on the road for 3 days with Governor Romney and the crowds, when I look at the undecideds, I believe that Governor Romney will not only win on Tuesday, I believe he could win decisively.
In these final days, of course, so much in the Northeast impacted by Hurricane Sandy. You heard Mayor Giuliani in the previous segment. The president's also received some praise as well. And most voters, according to our polls, think he's handled the hurricane about as well as he could. Does Governor Romney have any quarrel with the way President Obama has handled the hurricane?
Well, from what we've heard from the governors, they're working well with FEMA. There's a good working relationship between the state and the federal government. As you know, Governor Romney has focused very much and asked our supporters to help those, our fellow Americans who are in need and who have been harmed by this devastating hurricane. We've constantly and consistently asked people to donate to the Red Cross and to the Salvation Army and put that information up on the screens at our events. We've asked people to bring canned goods and Governor Romney turned some of our volunteer centers into collection centers. So we are keeping those hurt by the storm in our prayers and in our thoughts, and trying to not only keep them in our thoughts but in our actions as well.
Finally, do you agree with Karl Rove that the president's response has helped him politically in this last week?
You know, I just don't know. You know, we're very focused on highlighting the difference in this election. Governor Romney is closing very strong with a big speech about the differences that would happen in the next 4 years. I think when you look at where these two candidates are going and what they're saying, it reflects kind of the strategy. President Obama asking his voters to vote for revenge. Governor Romney asking asking Americans to vote for love of country. Very sharp contrast. And again, I think this gets back to their desire, their assessment that they need to still energize core Democratic voters. In your poll today, George, as you know, there's a difference in intensity between self-identified Republicans and self-identified Democrats of about 6 percentage points. Republicans saying they're certain to vote relative to the Democrats. And what I hear from the president is kind of an energizing the base message. Governor Romney, you know, has a much bigger message that I think resonates strongly with a lot of those undecideds out there.
Ed Gillespie, thanks very much for your time this morning.